Hey guys, this is Joe with Screen Rant. Comic-Con 2019 is in full swing, and I'm with the legendary Todd McFarlane. How you doing, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. Right?
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying your week.
I am. You are a legend, and we are celebrating Spawn 300, and in October, Spawn 301.
Right.
That is the longest-running creator-owned book ever.
Ever. Right. It was interesting, and again, to me, 301 is way more significant for me personally. Number one, it took 27 years to get there. So people go, oh my God, you're so lucky. Well, that was a 27-year journey to get to lucky. But I was even contemplating on whether I make the sort of the triple size issue, the anniversary issue, if you will, issue 301, not 300.
Sure.
Right? 300 will tie the record. It was a book that was called Cerebus. Dave Sim was an artist that did it, a fellow Canadian, right? So it strikes me as just a little bit odd with all the countries in this world that the record that a Canadian set is going to get beat by another Canadian. I don't know what's happening to the other countries right now and the work ethic there, but we need somebody else to step up and do like 400 issues and get in there. But 301 is the one then that's going to break Cerebus's record, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then every issue thereafter becomes another record, just like when Cal Ripken Jr. broke Lou Gehrig's games played record. So I had this conversation with my publisher, Eric Stevenson, our partner at Image Comics, saying, let's just make the big issue 301 because that's the record setter. 300's only tying it.
Right.
But then we went, and he just thought that maybe the customers are so used to the round numbers, it would be a bit of a head scratcher, right? In hindsight, I actually think maybe we made the wrong decision because it would have been such an odd thing that people would have been asking why. So then it would have been maybe easier to educate them. Where 300, they're going to go, woo! And then I have to say to them, no, the next one is 301. The way to get them, though, that way is you make sure that 300, the story, is a cliffhanger.
Sure.
And so then they have to go into 301. So 300, 301, you're not going to get the full story unless you buy both.
Man, so many great memories I have with Spawn. I remember the HBO series.
Oh, yeah.
The first film. But
we had all the 5 warnings on it, right? We were the first one to have all 5 warnings.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. There's only 5. And I'm trying to think what it was. It was like violence, sex, cursing, drugs. I forget what the 5th one. But it was like when it came up, it was like a badge of honor.
Look at you, Todd,
right?
Setting records all over the place.
Yeah, I go, we got them all. Like you, that other show had 4, maybe 3, right? We had 4, and part of it was, and I don't say that in a silly way. I say that because the world that Spawn lives in is ugly, right? Anybody that tries to find any joy in his world, that you're looking at the wrong comic book and the wrong story and the wrong TV and movie. So that reality of that world that he lives in, it's dark and ugly. It's basically the underbelly of humanity.
Right.
That all you have to do is just look at a newspaper or go on the internet and you're going to see it. It's alive every day. So there's a vernacular that people use in those corners, those dark corners. There are sort of lifestyles that are in those corners that you have to be able to do stuff that may be at times not pretty and at times may be offensive, but it's accurate on some levels. And that was it. So the reason I like that we had it was that HBO was saying, if you need to tell a story, tell your story. I don't tell it, right? And we'll make sure that we put the protection around you.
It's been going on forever, and I love the character Spawn, and I can't wait for the Blumhouse stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about the Blumhouse film that you got going on. But you have your fingerprint all over Comic-Con. You have a black and white statue for Batman.
Yeah, they did a big Batman gala the other day, and they've been doing since 2005 this Batman black and white statue series
from issue 423, I believe, right?
The one mine, right? They just unveiled it as number 100, right? Right. And so, but what was really impressive was they actually at the Balboa Museum where they had it was they had all 100 of them. And it was really cool to see like all these different styles and looks of Batman through the years, and through literally since the inception of him, all in one spot, right? And there was most of them were super cool, right? I mean, if somebody said you got to pick your favorite, I think we'd all have paralysis at that point. So, anyway, I don't know why, my one Batman cover is deemed worthy for number 100, but cool, right? And then
it's amazing.
They did a big 6-foot version of it. And auctioned it off, right? It's this big giant version of it, but because the image is very graphic, right? And at times somebody was telling me that from Warner Brothers, there's like a website where people sort of go, what's Todd drawing? What's Batman doing under the cape? What's the anatomy? It doesn't make any sense, right? I'm going to tell you how I work in comic books, right? We live in a fantasy world in comic books. I'll tell you what doesn't make sense. Blades coming out of people's knuckles, right? A guy crawling up walls like a spider, and a guy having bullets bounce off his chest. None of that makes any sense either. So once I step into the Rubicon of fantasy, I don't really let like reality drag me back, right? Because if I did that, I wouldn't have made a career in Spider-Man.
Sure.
There is no way, it is impossible physically for a human being to go into the poses I put Spider-Man. Here's what I did do. Cool shit on the page, right? And here's what I know is that cool stuff will sell every day of my life, every single day of my life. So we sometimes I've been on panels. We get these, like I said, we get these intellects that want to sort of describe like why every character is popular or not popular. Like I'm just like, oh, for the love of God, they've forgotten their inner 10-year-old. Like the reason that we like stuff for the most part, especially little boys, is because it's just cool, Mom. Can I get that? That's just cool. We don't give any more. That's enough. Right? That's enough. When we look at a Corvette, it just looks cool because it's got some lines in it. We look at a jet, it looks cool. Right? I mean, there's just stuff that quickly we just respond to. And we're not sitting there going, you know, that Spider-Man, he looks like me, and he gets his homework torn up, and I don't do it, and I really relate to him. No. He can crawl up walls and he can hang upside down on a web. If I could do that right now for you, I would do it, and it would be super cool. And I would wish that everybody in this room could also repeat it, right?
Yeah.
That's why Spider-Man is popular, is because he just got a cool power and he looks like a cool. And the other guy.
It's not because he can't get his homework done, is what you're saying.
Right. And if that's true, even if it's true, this is why I think I go, come on, all you smart people. This is why I'll argue with it, because I go, if that's true, okay, I will stipulate it. Right? I'll give you a legal word. I'm stipulating. That means I agree with you. Now let's talk about Batman. Oh, he's rich. He lives in a mansion. He's a bazillionaire. We can't relate with him, and he's super popular. What's the excuse now? Either we can relate to him or we can't relate to him. I'm going to tell you what the common denominator is, because he's pretty goddamn cool too, because he's a dude that sits at home. He waits till 3 a.m. He doesn't want to date girls, and then he says, get me the costume because I'm going to go scare the shit out of the bad guys because they just make me angry. I actually get that guy. And that he's dressed as a giant bat while he's scaring them, that's super cool. And he's got a bunch of gadgets. That's super cool too. Right?
That is Todd McFarlane Explains Batman.
Yeah. Are we on screen rants? Because I think that was a rant.
That was great.
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman, you have a new collaboration with DC Collectibles. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah. In 2020, we've signed a contract with McFarlane Toys, one of my companies. We've been making toys for 2+ decades. And
you put out some my favorite toys, the Lost action.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've got a contract that will begin in 2020, and we get to take a bite out of the DC multiverse and get to do some cool stuff there.
What can we expect?
As much cool stuff as I can get away with, right? so here's what you know is going to happen, right? Because I'm always the vinegar to the corporate oil, right? So so I always come in there, and I'm like a little boy, and my whole theory is I just see if I can wear Mom out, right? And I go, is there any way I can do? No, Todd, quiet. Is there any way? And then usually by about the 20th one, right? Then they just go, oh, for the love of Pete, just let him do a little bit of it, right? So. All my relationships I've had in contracts over the years, I've done hundreds and hundreds of them. To me, it's sort of like dating. You have to sort of prove you're trustworthy and that you're skilled enough to be able to ask to expand the box, right? They're not just gonna. I wouldn't do it with some of the stuff that I do. So I get it as a CEO. I get why they go into and make the decisions that they do, and it's up to me to prove that I've got an idea that might expand that a little bit. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying it expands it. Can you trust me on it? Are you willing to try it? Go for a little bit of a ride. And so that's the adventure I'm hoping for. That whatever we're doing in year 1, by year 3, will just be in 5th gear, right?
And I can't wait for that because I love your action figures. I think they're amazing. They're like like little statues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're amazing. Another thing that we have too is Spawn's gonna be appearing in Mortal Kombat.
Correct.
How amazing is that? That's so cool.
It's super cool if you like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Or video games in general.
Yeah. So I know. Look, it's weird that over the years people have been asking me about, hey, is Spawn going to be in this game or this game or this game or this game? So, at some point I just need to do a really super cool, badass Spawn video game in and of itself. We'll get there.
And believe me, we will get there. Cool shit.
Yeah, you can sell it all day long. So people have knocked on the door all the time, and the Mortal Kombat crew came, and they let me tell you what's impressive about them. They must have some super Spawn geeks there because they gave me this whole sort of library of what they want to do with it and whatever.
Oh, really?
And I was going, what? And then they went, yeah, and they were sort of saying, yeah, this is from issue 77 and this is from issue 124, and I'd even forgotten. I wrote it, and I had forgotten about it. And I go, wow, these are good. I need them on my side to do some work for me because they know more about Spawn than I do. So they were super loyal to the point that some of the comments that I had was stop being so loyal, right? This is Mortal Kombat. You know your audience. You know what they expect out of this. You can be true to Spawn, but still, whatever you got to do that you think will jazz up your Mortal Kombat fan, do it. Don't worry about the Spawn fan. Ultimately, we're going to get them if you do enough cool stuff. And so they started showing me the looks and some of the moves and some of the other stuff and I go, wow, they're going big, they're going large. So yeah, they're supposed to be showing some of the visuals here soon, and so they haven't exposed that. But there's lots of cool stuff coming with them.
Last time I saw you, we were at New York Comic Con. We actually shut the building down. The security came in and told us we had to leave.
Yeah,
we were getting to a conversation. We were talking about possibly here. I wanted to see the trailer or a teaser for Spawn here in San Diego.
Oh, me too.
However, we have New York Comic Con coming up. What are the updates? What can you give me on the new Spawn film?
The current update is that I'm rewriting the script.
Okay.
Right. The script, as I sort of gave it to some of the big players in Hollywood, they just needed some more obvious stuff, right? They have their systems. So I'm trying to sort of find that spot where I can get them to yes on some of the money asked without compromising too much on what it is that I want to do. And what I want to do, because otherwise I'll find the money outside, right? Is I just want to do a serious, I keep saying it, and people are probably tired of hearing it, just a serious, dark, adult version of a superhero character that it takes itself completely serious from second one. It's more of a sort of a drama, supernatural drama, and there's no goofy lines in it,
right?
And there's no silly apparatuses and props, and there's no it's just this thing that is called Spawn that will just get you if you have evil. It will come. The shark will eat you, and it will make no apologies for biting you in two. Right?
I mean, earlier this year, we did get to see at least the superhero genre be transformed a little bit with Brightburn.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Way closer there. Right.
Right.
Now I go, wow. Now we're talking about it, and I wish that was a giant hit because then I could point to it there. Right. The difference I think and Brightburn is that there was no brand that was with it.
100%. Yeah.
So now I'm going. So what happens if you take that mindset, that mood, that reality, that world, and then you put a 30-year brand on top of it that will now be a record show. I mean, at some point, I keep saying, Warner Brothers owns DC, so nobody's getting DC characters. Disney owns Marvel, nobody's getting those characters. So everybody else needs other characters, and to me, I'm going, well, there's this character. It's going to be the longest-running independent or creator-owned comic book in the history of humanity ever. You're missing one. I think you're missing one. But it's going to be slightly different. It's not going to be Avengers. This is the piece. But I'm stubborn. I've been at this long enough that I'll get them across the finish line.
So pretty much what you just said is we're definitely going to get a teaser for New York Comic Con 2019.
Dude, I wish. Dude, I wish. Jason Blum, who's the producer on it, Academy Award nominated 3 times, just sort of said, and it's sort of pretty wise words. You went, Todd, it'll get made when the time's right. So he knows he's been through this frustrating process, but he goes, eventually you get it made, right? So I'm just a little impatient here, but I'm not the only one that's ever had to sort of endure a long development period.
Well, I have faith, and I'm excited for October for issue 301. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at Screen Man, Todd. Pleasure to see you, as always, sir.
All right,
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.